Hey, it's Chris with Grease and Gears TV, and I cannot even believe that it's only been a year since I was standing right in this spot. Coming to you this morning from Donnie Smith Show, 35th annual here in St. Paul. So much has happened in the year. One thing, we didn't have Grease and Gears TV last year. At this time, we were just getting ready to launch Grease and Gears TV, and it's here. We've been giving out tons of stuff about it. It's really well accepted, and we're so grateful for that. But we're here to celebrate the show. The first time ever that they're doing an invited builder showcase at the Donnie Smith Show. You guys have been watching the videos come out from this. They're here, the bikes are here, they look fantastic. So the doors are just getting open, the people are piling in, man, and we're gonna go check out this year's layout for the Donnie Smith Show at the St. Paul River Center. Come on, let's go.
So this bike is a 2017 Harley-Davidson Road King is what we started with on this one. There's a lot of things on this bike that we did a lot of kind of one-off things, you know, starting with the frame. We modified the, you know, complete new down tubes, backbone, everything like that. But what's really cool with this is we made a lot of one-off parts from, actually you can see under me, the side covers are all billet machined. The strut cover, or the strut covers were all hidden mounting hardware and everything like that behind it. Everything under the seat was redesigned. We made all of, 100% from scratch. Battery box, electrical caddy, BCM holder, ECM holder, everything like that. So a lot of different things that went into it that are, one of a kind as of right now. With everything we do, we try to make a lot of stuff in-house. We do our designs with everything like that. But there are a lot of great companies out there that we do work with, kind of regularly. We do a lot with HHI. They supplied us with the triple trees on this, their fork legs, their radial calipers front and back. Also their brand new swing arm on here that we took and we chromed it. So it was one of those things where we do use a lot of components like that. We've actually got their mid controls on the bike as well. We do like using products that'll stand the test of time, when we're building a custom project like this. With this bike, we used our pretty much painter we use for everything, which is Jeremy over at Lucky Strike. Him and I've got a great relationship. We always get on the same page. We'll kind of come up with the colors, and kick it back and back and forth a little bit, see what we want to do, and then we just let him do his thing. That's what we trust in him, and he trusts us to supply him with what he needs. So we like to use Jeremy, and he just knocks it out of the park every time. Our big thing when we wanted to build this bike was utilize as much as we could from the factory, but then also differentiate it as a full custom. So it got pretty challenging to, okay, where are we going to put all the wiring? Where are we going to hide this and hide that? And how are we going to mount the components when we eliminated the entire factory left side electrical caddy from the factory? Well, now we got to find a place to put the BCM and things. So a lot of challenges went into doing what we did to get it as sleeked down as we wanted to get it. Our big thing was trying to, not only show off what we can do, kind of create a new, new motorcycle, but also showcase our parts that we put on, the performance baggers. You can get on our website. You can get, from your local dealer and things like that. It has our brand new wheels on it. Basically our Signature Series 2.0 wheels on it. It has our risers on it. It's got our gas cap on it. Our mini floorboards are on it. Shift pegs, everything like that. It's got our carbon fiber front fender, rear fender on it. And then a lot of the stuff that is on this bike is going to get more dialed in for a production style motorcycle. So a lot of the one-off things on this bike are going to become available. So you can find us online. Our website is hoffman-designs.com. On Instagram, it's just at Hoffman Designs. We're also on Facebook. Good bit of our products are sold and distributed through Hard Drive.
Hanging out at the Donnie Smith Show. I don't know if we call this the Heman Fab living room or if this is the Heman Fab lounge, but
we made it comfortable.
It's perfect. This is such a historic show, and most people come in kind of timid, and you just like kicked the door in and said, "Yeah, we're here." Let's talk about the new product first.
Okay. The stuff we brought here, we've been working on for a long time. A few years. We haven't really shown any of the process of that or any of the end result. And really, the full chassis package that we have in front of us and the wheels that are on that are something that, we got together. We're actually a day late getting to completion, because we wanted to make sure that the stuff we've been working on for that long, we brought it here first.
Choppers are always about breaking the rules, but I was saying to you as we sat down here, like, I don't think anybody that's come up in this would have ever even thought of some of the approach that you're taking. You're completely breaking the rules. You're completely going against convention.
Yeah, I think it's an evolution of it. We did the chromoly FXR frames. It's 095 chromoly. We cut a lot of weight out of it. They're about half of the weight. And then, we didn't widen the seat area. We just kind of stood the tubes up. In the back, it fits a 180. It's a tight 180, but it fits well. And then going forward with the whole thing, the side covers, the swing arm, it's like everything it can be and nothing it can't,
One of your taglines is you constantly refer to this as refined machines, and you've said that in interviews with me before, that at the end of the day, this is a machine. You're working on a machine. But that whole swing arm itself is a piece of machinery. It's not just a function of the link between the rest of the frame and the wheel.
We spent a lot of time with late model swing arms, old Ness swing arms. Indian Gilroy swing. We had a collection of swing arms, that we had, and then doing the research on if we're going to backstretch it, if kind of what guys are doing with the FXR now. They're obviously taking the frame rails, cutting them, fitting it for a 180, up stretching them. I think the proportions are right on it, and we did a lot of different prototypes. It's something we worked on for the last year. And this spherical bearing thing, we came along with that, so that allows the engine to pivot, the whole drivetrain to pivot off the rear and then take your vibration out, but not move side to side.
The bike that we're looking at here is a chassis that you're building for John Jessup. And I like how you said that, John is really an FXR guy, so there's parts of it that you just left alone and you worked off of that. And it's that kind of thing that I said you're breaking rules that people don't even think about traditionally, because FXR has always been in such a box, and like even just this one chassis, man, it's completely shattered that.
And I think working with him on that, we really kept it to where from here to the wall it looks like an FXR, but yet everything's just kind of refined on it. But I think it's the same thing where everything's just a little bit, like the pivot blocks are, just centered and moved down an 1/8 inch, or that little bit of shorter strut, that little bit of wider rear, but everything's a real compact, tight platform,
So let's talk about the wheels, because this is a total game changer. Like, excuse me if I don't know this, but are you guys the first guys doing a combination wheel set like this in motorcycling?
That is correct. And it goes back to, I was going to do either carbon centers or spun outside hoops. We went back and forth with that. It was really based off a wheel that's actually on that green bike. Like it's a PMFR. It's a drag bike wheel that I got. I purchased it from Carl Speed Shop, like his guys, the spring after he passed. And those wheels are the same. Like, they're two spun halves put together. They have a center that bolts into them. And I was like, man, you could take, those spun halves, and then I bought a couple more of those wheels, and I was like, man, we can take those spun halves. Now we just get the centers cut, and we can do whatever we want. We're doing them in a 19 and an 18 by 5.5. We talked to a lot of people that in the late model stuff. We based the first one off of Dan Gurney, Eagle wheel, IndyCar wheel, and then we did the 3 spokes that we got together after Daytona before, the show here. They're totally modular. The hubs will be for late model. We've had the carbon M8 engine covers for a while, and we kind of waited to release that until we had the wheels.
This is so great. Like this, this is another part of the history of this. This would have been an old Smith Brothers Fetro catalog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if you thought about that or if you wondered why when I sat down here, I was like, this is a really good thing that you did.
Yeah.
Because sitting here looking at this, and if you would have made the pictures in color, it wouldn't have been as cool because it wouldn't have tied to that. Like, I felt like, we're sitting here in a lot of ways looking at the Smith Brothers Fetro catalog.
It's very heavily based on, like a Dick Allen product look.
Yeah.
Like his product, like, and I think it's a tangible, something tangible to look at.
No, it's great. Check them out. Heman Fabrication. I'm a fan. Someday when I get legitimate, I'm gonna have one of these motorcycles. I'm telling you now.
We get to ride one soon,
Oh man.
Hey, this is Crystal, Cycle Source Greasing Gears TV, hanging out on the Donnie Smith Show floor. It's been another banner year, but of course, to find the real story, you guys know how I am. I'm sappy. I like to really get into it, deal with the feels. Of course,
don't make me emotional.
To get that, I got to come over to the Clockworks booth. But this honestly may be one of the best stories on the show floor this year. This might be one of the best stories in motorcycling this year.
Well, I'm really lucky. Okay, Donnie Smith is
absolutely
like
are.
my dad, and I've been coming to the show for more than 20 years. But the beauty of this right here is my first ever custom FXR, and I brought it to Donnie and Rob, and Donnie and Rob were still located in Donnie's house in the garage behind the house, and my mom's Monte Carlo was big enough that I could put this frame in the trunk, and Donnie will never let me forget that I borrowed my mom's Monte Carlo to bring this to him, right?
Now, see,
Because those weren't the prettiest things. I mean, people, have mixed opinions about Monte Carlos, and it was a 76.
it was kind of like the FXR of the
yeah,
cars.
76 had swivel buckets, all that, the good stuff.
The
right?
crazy big fenders. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Trying to be a Corvette.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, didn't know.
not really a Thunderbird.
Little crisis identity in the Monte Carlo deal. But the beauty of it was, Donnie said, okay, I'll rake your frame. And I didn't know rake from a hole in my head, right? He explained to me how everything works, and I'd looked it all up. And at the time, you didn't have the internet. You couldn't just Google anything you wanted. I know that's hard for a lot of people to believe.
You actually looked in magazines
Yeah,
then.
yeah. And so that's what I did. I went to a magazine, then I went to a swap shop, swap meet, and a guy said, hey, here's the guy you want to talk to. His name's Donnie Smith. He's in Minneapolis. I'm like, okay. So I drove up there, and I'm nervous, right? Because this guy's a big deal. He's in the magazines. I don't know what to do. I carried in there, and Rob is this gorilla of a man at that time. And I'm like, oh my God. And this guy's like, I'll take that from you, kid. Picks it up like it's a paperweight, right? Just moves it around. And I said, well, I want to put this gas cap in my tank as well. And this probably would be embarrassing to Donnie, but this is not my gas cap. So I brought Donnie a gas cap out of a Yamaha FZR because it didn't stick up like this one. This one has that little lip in it. This one's off a Kawasaki. I didn't want that one, so I went and found the Yamaha one. The Yamaha one was smooth. When I got it back from Donnie, I had a Kawasaki gas cap. Well, he's Donnie Smith. I'm not going to tell him he's wrong. I'm not going to say anything. I'm a kid.
Like, yeah, that does look
That was, appreciate you. Thank you very much. Here's how much I owe you. And then I wanted to do these little filler pieces around the outer area there. And then I said, I want my tail light to be these 2 slots. So it looks like the marker lights in my 70 Chevelle. I have my first car since I was 16. I still have it to this day. and I wanted to just match. Donnie goes, I got you, no problem. And I said, well, yeah, that'd be great. And he goes, well, how about this? It's this strut piece I've come up with to slide on there, and then it's all blind mounted, and we'll just kind of blend this in there, right? I'm like, that'd be awesome, right? And so I got that part done. Well, then as a kid, you spend the next however many months just saving up $500 to buy a Del Orto carburetor, right? I have no idea how much a Donnie Smith or the Arlen Ness swing arm was, but it was expensive, right?
Yeah.
And so I just kept saving money and saving money. My dad kept telling me I'm an idiot. So it was a part for 2 years. And I would literally have magazines all over the floor and be like, I like this of that one. I don't like this of that one. Never mind, that one's completely out. Close the magazine, that one's out, right? But you couldn't Google it. Like you didn't just have, like you couldn't put all your favorites in a Pinterest album or something.
No, we'd take that stuff and cut out the magazine and put them on the wall.
Okay, well, I wouldn't cut my magazine. So that's why I laid them on the floor, because I saved my magazines, dummy. So the real turning point was when I showed up with this bike in Sturgis and I saw Arlen Ness. And I pulled up behind this little hotel, I think it was Queen's Hotel or something, motel in Spearfish, right? And they all stayed there. And so I pulled up there and all of a sudden the curtain opens on the motel and I'm like, ooh. And it's Arlen. He goes, wait. And he goes, just a minute. And he's on the phone, like a real phone, not just your cell phone, a real, like attached to the wall phone. And so he hangs up the phone, he comes out, I go, I'm sorry. He goes, no, it's okay. It was just Billy Gibbons. I told him I'd call him back. Okay, if you don't know and you're watching this, just Billy Gibbons is ZZ Top. That is not just Billy Gibbons. And he goes, yeah, he wanted me to build him a couple bikes, those antique looking ones, but I'll call him after Sturgis. Anyway, how are you, Brian? That's Arlen Ness. That's who he was. God bless him. It's been 5 years since he passed, and I mean, he's amazing. Well, I said, you know, I wanted to ask you a question about my bike if I could. And he said, yeah, for sure. What's up? And he goes, this thing's beautiful. And I said, yeah, but it's not quite there. And he goes, well, why don't you tell me what you think is the matter with it, and then I'll tell you what I think is. I said, okay. I said, I think my paint sucks. And at the time, I had a Ford car paint called Iris Poly. That's why the bike has the name Iris. It was a little bit purple, but a little bit pink and mauve-y looking, and it was okay, but it was metallic and it just didn't have any depth, right? And Arlen goes, it's car paint. I said, yeah. He goes, that's the problem. I said, what do you mean? He goes, I'd paint this bike for you for $1,500 if you want me to. Well, I mean, $1,500 at the time was an astronomical amount of money. Now, when you buy the materials, even just to have it here 34 years later, to say Arlen Ness painted this bike for me would have been insane, but I wasn't that smart. And so I just kind of saved my dough. And I was like, I got to figure out something. And then we stumbled on this, which is a lapis blue base with House of Colors candy purple. It's the same color I painted my Chopper Friends Throwdown bike a year ago, right? Wow. And I went over to Kosmowski's. They don't make this color anymore. And he mixed it for me in his garage. So what a treat, right? And as if that wasn't enough, you know, Danny Gray made me a gray seat, right? But this bike has been my thing. It was 34 years ago that I built this bike, and my beautiful wife, Vanessa, found it back and hunted it down and bought it back for me on her birthday last summer. It's been over 18 years.
So, I mean, that in itself, because all of us, most of us that have been doing this for any time, have that story of the one that got away or the one that we wish we kept. Yeah. You know, and especially a bike with a story like that.
Well, and for a guy who has his first ever high school car.
Yeah.
It's not something I let go because I wanted to. I had to. I was trying to grow my business. I was trying to make a name in the motorcycle industry, and I needed the money. This is the bike that built Clockworks, because people would see this at the park, at a bike show out on Main Street, and they'd be like, hey, could you do this for me? And that's the story behind Iris.
Well, I appreciate you sharing with us.
No problem.
Brian Clock, captain of the motorcycle industry, or crazy farm kid riding around in his mom's Monte Carlo with a hacked up FXR? I don't know.
As far as annual shows go, this one tops them all. With a legendary pedigree, it plays host to the who's who of the motorcycle industry. This would be the first time, however, in the 35-year history of the Donnie Smith Show that there would be an invited builder showcase. Some 20 builders from all over the Midwest displayed their latest creations at the show named for one of the masters. Prime real estate would be cut out of the main show floor with elevated platforms to put those creations at eye level. Different styles, eras, and genres were all present in what became the centerpiece of the event.
Good morning. It is Sunday, March 24th, day 2 of the Donnie Smith Bike Show Midwest Motorcycle Extravaganza. And I gotta say, they're talking about a little bit of snow, a little bit of white stuff. Who gives a shit? I'm here with amazing motorcycles, killer swap meet. I know there's still some good stuff left because it was off the hook this year. Like swap meet, crazy good. Motorcycles, crazy good. It's a great way to come spend a crappy, snowy Sunday in St. Paul. So.
We just did, yeah. We're not live. No, we're not.
I wish we were.
Yeah, we can go live if you want.
All right, so I just brought a few samples of the parts I make to the Donnie Smith Show. For example, we have some twin cam horn deletes, just to kind of relocate the horn, clean up the whole left side. Also some ST badges for the bags and the dash. And along with the STs, the lowrider STs are the vent splitters for the windscreens, just kind of change it up a little bit on the front. We have the 15 and up road glide T-bar style gauges relocation. Kind of give you an example there with them set up. Probably one of the best sellers are the PV mounts for your power visions to set up on the T-bars as well. My favorite piece that I've made so far is the subframe for the 09 and up baggers. Basically just pull all your stock stuff off, all your factory bag mounts, and then this replaces everything. But you can still run all your sissy bar and docking hardware and everything with that. So a little bit about what we do at My Machinist. It's just a small shop in Little Rock, Arkansas, but we do everything start to finish, from design work to programming to machining to shipping out, everything in-house. All the products are made in the U.S., materials in the U.S., everything's in the U.S. and shipped from my shop. Here's the FXR I finished last year for the FXR Tour. It's a 1988 FXR. Starting from the back, we basically just shaved the fender, so no taillights, nothing like that. We ran the small taillights and these struts along with the handles. I always run handles on the struts, same with the baggers. We did an 18-19 wheel. I actually machined those in-house as well with the swing arm. It's a one-off swing arm so far, but I'm actually going to be making another one for my son. We ran Lindahl rotors and sprocket. And then the side covers are probably one of my favorites. It's all machined out of aluminum, and then I bend them in the brake press. SBC pipe. This is an M8 FXR, and it's a 114 fueling 472 cam, HPI throttle body, NAMS and Thundermax tuner and wiring harness, along with Dakota digital gauge to kind of tie everything together on that. And then the mids with my round donut pegs, which it's my go-to on my last couple bikes. It's kind of comfortable for the ride. The 3-inch drop trees, and then I did these crazy risers that go through the trees and clamp onto the fork tube, so they never touch the trees at all. And that gives you a little adjustability too, so you can move them up and down. And then I took the Clockworks front fender, I cut it, rotated it, and cut the mounts off of it, and then made my mounts go to the outer sections of the fender. And those fork tubes are Gixxer 1000 tubes that are just polished, by the way. And then pretty much last thing I did, which I had an idea of the round headlight that you could see through it, and my logo's in the middle of the neck. So I did the 3 LED rings, and it's kind of like a halo look, and then hollow in the middle. It looks great. I'm super stoked on this bike.
Donnie Smith Show 2024! Yeah! Long day at the Donnie Smith Show. As usual, a lot of miles on these things because there's so many people to see. We ran into Teach today. All the builders from the showcase came out, man, and the way they put that together was absolutely killer. All the hamster guys in the house. Hamsters USA raised $8,000 for Kevin Bass's chopper class last night at the banquet, and I got to tell you how well that feels right in here, right inside my heart, man, to know that those guys in 2 seconds flat, somebody put a hat out, everybody threw money in. They want to make sure that the work that Kevin has been doing over at Lakeview North is funded in the best way that we can. So super proud of that. Tons of great bikes, drag bikes. The swap area was packed. Of course, I got here late, so I couldn't get that, but I did get a good shave today over at Jaime's Haberdashery. Lots of good stuff to do in St. Paul. And speaking of that, right now, we're going to one of the best, baby. The show is closing. We're heading to Casetas.